It's 4 a.m. Time to make another review. Hey guys, it's me. And yeah, it's been a minute. About a month, maybe a month and a half or so, since I've uploaded a video. I've been busy. Life's caught up with me a little bit, and it's been a little bit of a hectic past couple months. But I'm back now, and today we're going to talk about that new Batman movie that just came out, because man, it is pretty freaking good. So, without further ado, I'm going to give you a spoiler-free review, diving into minor spoilers here and there. So if you don't want anything at all spoiled in the movie, please go and watch the movie and come back to this video. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Man, where to begin? This movie is just honestly so perfect. From the shots, the visuals, the cinematography, the acting, the dialogue, the script, the characters, everything flows in one swift motion. It's such a beautiful love letter to the character of Batman. This movie is very much a noir detective film, a dialogue-driven film, a mindfucker film that will leave you questioning and suspenseful on the edge of your seat. It's a slow burn movie while also keeping a steady pace, which is extremely impressive. It feels like a 3-hour movie, but you also don't want it to end. Whenever I could feel myself nearing the conclusion of the film, I got pretty sad because I didn't want the movie to be over because I was enjoying myself so much. This is 3 hours of Batman, and honestly, it's exactly what we needed. This movie strays away from the traditional Batman story in favor for kind of a different one. Robert Pattinson's Batman isn't your stereotypical Bruce Wayne billionaire playboy. He's very much a goth, emo, depressed man who sits around in his cave all day, and we see that. There's this really funny scene where he comes out for the first time in a couple days after being Batman and just being out all night, and he looks at the sun, and it actually kind of hurts his eyes a little bit, and he kind of like hisses almost like a vampire, and I think that that is extremely funny, and it's honestly just a great way to pull the Batman into this movie. Gotham City is absolutely beautiful. I'm pretty sure they shot these scenes in London, and honestly, it's really great. Gotham is a dirty, disgusting place, and this movie really visualizes that. The Joker visualized that as well, like the Joker movie. It really visualized that Gotham is not the place that you want to live, and this movie really struck it home with the idea that Gotham is a horrible place to live, and no one in their right mind should live here. The supporting characters as well do a great job. Everyone is at the top of their game here. The supporting characters in the Batman movie are all really good, but the standout of the show for me was Colin Farrell's Penguin, honestly, to my surprise. Colin Farrell does an amazing job as playing this kind of slimy, sleazy, dirtbag crime boss of the underworld of Gotham. He's just kind of in the background, conniving, always planning something, but never getting really caught by anybody. And I think that he does a great job. The fact that Colin Farrell is willing to go through all of this makeup process and prosthetics and everything to completely change his appearance to look more like the Penguin is honestly just shows the commitment that Colin Farrell had for the character. And I'm really happy that he got the role over Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill was originally supposed to get the role of Penguin, but he left due to creative differences, which I'm honestly kind of happy about because Colin Farrell did a fantastic job, and now I can't see anyone else in the role going forward from here. Paul Dano as the Riddler also does a fantastic job. He plays a very narcissistic, psychopathic, crazy killer, and I think that his performance on the screen is amazing. A lot of people online are saying that he doesn't really do much in the entire film, but I think that he does plenty in the movie because this isn't a Riddler movie. This is a Batman movie. Riddler is just the villain. Riddler's motivations throughout the entire movie are fully explained, and his character is fully fleshed out. He goes on a journey to become a worse and worse villain, and I honestly really love it. His villain is one that you can sympathize with, but it is also one that you wish will be taken down eventually, and I think that it is an amazing character to be done. Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman is also amazing in this movie. Her motivations are clear, and she's a fully fleshed out character, and honestly, she has really good chemistry with Robert Pattinson, and I think that the two characters blend very well together and kind of like this duo that they do throughout the entire movie, but they're not really like partners yet, and the way that they ended the movie with them I think is really good as well. And honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing the two characters work together in the future because it was a lot of fun to watch them on screen together. Their on-screen banter was really cool, their disagreements were really cool, and I'm honestly just excited to see what's in store for the future. Andy Serkis as Alfred Pennyworth is also an amazing character. he's definitely not better than Michael Caine's Alfred, but he's up there with the Alfreds, and I think that he does an amazing job as Alfred. The relationship that we're shown between Bruce and Alfred in this movie is one of like a father-son relationship, and you can tell that Alfred really does hold a lot of guilt inside of him for not just being that father that Bruce Wayne always needed in his entire life, but Bruce doesn't care because he had Alfred growing up, and that's better than nothing, because Alfred is honestly one of the best father figures in all of comics, and I think that Alfred does a great job. But you can tell that the performance that Andy Serkis is delivering here is one of just kind of like a guilty man who just feels like he didn't do good enough for Bruce growing up. But there's really great moments in this movie with them too, and I honestly love them. And probably one of my favorite characters in the entire movie is Jeffrey Wright's Jim Gordon. Holy shit, does he kill it as Jim Gordon. The performance that Jeffrey Wright gives off as Jim Gordon is one of a cop that is determined to do the right thing no matter what happens, and that's why he works with Batman. He's a very righteous man, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to win the day and take down the bad guys, even if that means crossing the illegal line with working with a vigilante. He's constantly getting shit for it throughout the entire movie. People are telling him that he needs to stop doing this and that, but he doesn't care. He just wants to see the Riddler be taken down and the city saved, and I think that's what makes him such a compelling character. Honestly, the movie is just extremely well written, it's extremely well put together, and it's a 10 out of 10 in my book. A lot of people were complaining about things like there's no distinction between Bruce Wayne and Batman, and while I do agree with you in this sense, but I also think that there doesn't need to be a distinction with him in this movie. Matt Reeves had a very clear vision, and this movie unapologetically pushes the humanization of Batman and his trauma, and I think that it works out perfect in this entire movie. There's nothing that I would change about this movie, and there's nothing that I can complain about, because honestly, this movie is just perfect. I don't really want to say much anymore, because there's not much I can say without hopping into spoilers. I could talk about this movie all day, but I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it yet. So please, do yourself the favor, go watch the Batman movie, and this has been 4am Picture Shows, and I'm your host, 4am, and I'm out.